Welcome to Built with Grit. I am your host and strategic partner in cost reduction, Luis Fernandez. And today I am joined with my friend Karie, the CEO of the Future Well Group and all around amazing human. Karie, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. And I wanted to have a chance to kind of, and I'm not sure what's the best order here. If you maybe telling us a little bit about the business and then how you got into it. And I'll interrupt you a whole bunch of times as we do that, if that's okay.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So the company, we started the company in January because there's a huge need in the United States for uh, what I call responsible economic development and sustainable economic development. And what I mean by that is that we have a gap in manufacturing in the United States. There's a lot of things that we've found through the pandemic that we are lacking in, which actually affects our national security.
Mm.
And so we decided that we needed to step in. I have a really amazing team of people from all over the world who have different backgrounds. My background is actually banking, and I've been doing economic development projects for too long. We won't talk about how long, for decades. So I decided, why are we doing this for other companies? We should just be doing this for ourselves. And then we know it's being done responsibly and it's going to continue to be responsible because we're in charge of it. We've had a lot of companies where we've done consulting for, and they start out being responsible and then, down the road, money changes things and they decide not to be responsible anymore.
Mm.
So we just decided that there was a need and we we're going to fulfill that need. And that's really our main goal. We obviously have PPE. We started doing PPE at the beginning of the pandemic. And that was because, again, we saw a need. My background's banking and I do international commodities. Oil and gas is one of the main businesses I work in as far as commodities go before the pandemic.
Mm.
Then we ran up against the, oil crash, and the oil and gas business kind of slowed down tremendously. Slowed down.
Just a little.
And we were like, there's a need for real products. We have connections all over the world because we're already doing commodities, which are part of a lot of our economic development projects. Obviously need a commodity and they're selling a commodity. So why not use our connections and really make a difference and try to get real product in the hands of the people that need it? So that's what we did at the very beginning of the pandemic. That was our main focus. Sold a lot of product, brought a lot of product in, gone through a lot of headaches. And part of those headaches is logistics. 2.5, 3 years ago, we were paying $4,500 for a 40-foot container from China. Today, it's almost $20,000.
Right.
For that same 40-foot container.
Yeah.
And let's see, do you have 4 months for it to ship? Because that's about how long it's going to take to get here.
And the backlogs are insane.
Right. And that's even if you can get a container. Good luck with getting a container.
I think that's something that people don't realize. If we're just consumers and you're not like actively involved in this sort of the world of trade, I guess. And I'm tangentially involved. Some of the folks that I work with, they have international focus, and we've had conversations about this. And the fact that when the pandemic hit, like shipping stopped, everything stopped. Like complete, right? And this is similar to an assembly line that the assembly line keeps moving forward. And if I was supervising an assembly line one time, and we had a weld robot that went down, and so the stuff behind it keeps moving forward. It's a conveyor belt, right? So if you think about it, everything behind it keeps moving and piling and piling and piling and piling and piling, and then there's nothing in front of it. And then when you turn it on, it can only go so fast. And the stuff is still piling up behind. So
great way to look at it. Like for people that don't understand logistics, that's perfect.
Right. So if your capacity is 10 ships a day or 100 ships a day, and your backlog is 1,000 ships, even if you can get 10 more, you're only chipping away at 10 out of that 1,000 every single day.
Right.
That backlog is still there. And that's just how long it takes to get caught up, and hearing from so many folks about like what those international shipment brokers that are like, I can actually get you a ship, right? Like not so much, you know, like I can get you on a ship to get over
Right.
here. That's like their
Okay, I'm
competitive
jumping
edge.
over to you.
Which is just absolutely wild. And to
Yeah.
think about, you know, and then we have that evergreen guy get stuck in the Suez Canal,
Oh yeah, that was fabulous.
right? Like shuts everything down again. I mean, it's the delays
And
are
people
absolutely
don't realize that even if you weren't part of that shipping chain and you're going a different direction, all those vessels that are backed up have an effect on everybody. We call that backwards dominoes when it goes in the negative direction, but it dominoes.
right.
You can't stop it.
No,
It's going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to be before we catch up on the logistics side. It could be years.
right.
But bottom line, each country really needs to be more independent, and we need to start looking at different ways to procure our raw goods. And one of the ways that we're fixing that is that we're bringing a waste optimization technology where we'll be taking all waste into one end of the plant without a need to separate it at a household level or business level. We take it all in, and at the other end comes 18 raw commodities. So basically what we're doing is turning garbage back into the raw commodities it started as. So now we can get our raw commodities from our waste.
That's awesome. So you guys are I mean, it's essentially it's a recycling line. What are, you said 18? Is it, are there 18 specific like types of metals and plastics and stuff that
Yep.
okay.
And two of them are zero sulfur jet fuel and zero sulfur diesel. And we make those inside the plant with zero emissions. Zero. There's no smokestack coming out of the plant at all. In fact, we have vertical gardens on the roof of the plant under the solar panels because the whole plant is also off grid. All of our manufacturing will be off grid using a combination of geothermal, solar, and wind technologies. We're also using the most advanced technologies to clean our water so that we can reuse the water, so we're not a drain on the water system as well either. And we're paying living wages to everyone that works for us as well. And living wages are different depending on where you live. Living wages where I live are completely different than living wages in the state of New York, obviously.
I have a friend, he's a realtor in New York City, and he posted a photo of this condo, and it was like a great deal, and it was like I don't remember exactly now, and anybody in New York City, I apologize, but it was like 1,000 square feet and like a 2-bedroom condo, and it was like $2 million, right? Yeah. So I went on Zillow.
Living wage different than buying a condo here for 300,000. It's still expensive, even in a tiny community where we're located. It's still pretty expensive to live. Yeah. So another thing that we bring is affordable housing because we make panels out of hemp. So we have a way to build houses more affordably. Right now, wood is like gold. Literally, the next door neighbor to our warehouse is a lumber yard. And I said, you need to put a camera on and I could be your 24-hour security because that's gold sitting next to me. Those long boards, that's all gold now. You have to get creative with all the things that we're doing. But I believe that responsible economic development means that you're doing all of these things together to make it, to me, that's how it's responsible.
I really like the idea. You know, having been in manufacturing myself, like I understand how much we waste. And I've seen those, you know, and now I counsel people on their waste bills, right? So we're looking at that all the time and you know what we can recycle and like. So are you paying for, let me just understand a little bit. You're going to factories now and saying, let me get all the stuff at the end of your line that you're not using, and then you're going to recycle that and sell it back out. Is that how that works? So where are you getting all of your materials from? Is it
that's part of the process of bringing a new technology like this is we're disrupting a market. Obviously, we're very much disrupting, well, several industries. I like to disrupt things. So, you know, this is good for me. I'm a good fit with the disruptions. I've always been that way. Even when I started in banking, I used a horse in womb, an unborn horse, as a down payment for a business. which had never happened, obviously, ever before in banking. This is like eons ago. Again, I don't want to age myself, but that's still talked about today, like, so 25 years later, they still talk about that. Because who does those things? Oh, Karie. That would be Karie. Yeah. So yeah, we're just disrupting a lot of markets. We're trying to work with companies like Waste Management to disrupt a little less, instead of like going all the way to the municipality level. Let's buy it from who the municipality level is selling it to. Now, part of that though is that we want to save everybody money. I mean, imagine I talked to the state of Washington where I live. I met with my local senator, and everybody in the meeting, all of his assistants and people were part of this meeting that we had. And they literally all lost their minds when I started talking about this technology. And they just, first of all, couldn't believe it's even a possibility. Secondly, why isn't it already operational? And then the senator said, how do we take the waste away from the people who already have it? Like, you just take it away. I mean, like, I'm going to pay you for it now. Instead of you having to pay to get rid of it, you're going to make money on waste.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
Well, at the end of the day, let's like do some research and see who owns the garbage. Because that's the problem.
Well, I'll tell you that if you're going to the source, right? Like, I remember watching our laser engineers nest as many parts as possible on a sheet of metal so that we had as little as possible waste.
Yeah, that's good.
And that was what they did every day is figure out, who in the factory was going to need a part that was A4 steel and
you could fit this tiny hole there.
Yeah. And it would be, there were some parts that were that big. There was one that I had that was a critical piece, and it was a T, and it was that big.
Lots of parts that are critical that are tiny.
Yeah, we never ran out of them because it was always like, well, just put another one of those in there,
Right. I like that. That to me is being responsible with your products. Like, let's get as little waste as we can. Part of the whole manufacturing process is that we need to learn how to do that and make less waste. And then if we do have waste, let's be recycling it responsibly. Right now we're recycling 2% of our plastic, really, and you're paying for recycling, but only 2% of what you're putting in your bin is actually really being recycled. The rest of it's going to the landfill. That's the truth. And not a lot of people even know that truth.
No, why so?
Because it can't be recycled. It's not the right kind of plastic. And because all technologies are different. Some technologies can take this kind and other technologies can take the other kind, but we haven't figured out how to actually recycle all of it yet. So that's part of what we're doing. I mean, we're building a nitrile glove manufacturing facility in New York. That's our first major plant with the waste optimization. We're already manufacturing hypochlorous acid, which is a safe, non-toxic disinfectant, biocide, scavenger. You wouldn't believe all the things that this product does. It's literally awe-inspiring. And we have it in powder formula, which means we're saving on shipping. A lot of people, nobody really is doing this in powder formula. We're one of very few companies that have this. We have the partner is the chemist that designed it, and it's patented. And it is every business, every industry in the world should be using it. It doesn't really make any sense why we're not, but this is I'm going to disrupt another marketplace, because what I'm doing is replacing nasty chemicals with something that's safe and non-toxic.
Yeah.
So safe you can drink it. But like, to me, I don't think, we have a lot of products on the market that say safe and non-toxic, but I guarantee you can't drink it. So how can they say it's safe and non-toxic when you can't drink it? That doesn't make sense to me. So again, I get to disrupt another market. That's just a couple of the ones. And now we also have exclusivity on a new rapid testing system. Yes, it's designed for COVID right now, but the cool thing about our system is it can be adjusted at the home office to different pathogens. So if in the future we face different pathogens, people that are buying this system that we have, which includes a computer and a machine where you put the testing vials in, they can adjust it for future pandemics. Or if you want to test for MRSA, or if you want to test for norovirus, we can adjust all of that at the headquarters.
So all of
Because
these
it's
things,
computer system.
they seem like completely different to me. How does, well, I have a lot of questions. All right.
Okay.
So so the first one is, you said you were in banking and then you make this decision and you build a factory from scratch. Like how does that happen?
Well, I do economic development projects already all over the world. I do all the planning. I do write the business plans, do all that. But I do this with a team of people. So I have an international team of people who all come from very diverse backgrounds. And what we're doing is coming together as a team to make a difference in the world using our individual talents, because we all have something to contribute, in my opinion. And the motto of our company is together better. And I mean that. Like every day I meet new people that are a benefit to our team. They're like-minded. Really, the bottom line is we all care about others, number one, and our purse, number two. And that's hard to find in this world today. Unfortunately, I mean, there's people that you meet that say they're like that. And then when money gets involved, the evil human comes out, and you now realize money's first, people are second. And that, I guess that's been the hardest part. It's taken me 10 years to get the team of people that I have today, people that I trust, that we're deep friends, we know each other's families, and we really care, and have proven it over and over and over again over the last 10 years. And then we have new people that come in. Some people, turn into that evil green guy, and then they're not part of the team anymore. So I'm just very blessed because of the team I have. It's not me, it's me plus the whole entire team of people from all over the world.
Yeah, that's it's certainly not an easy thing to find. Heck, I can't even get my kids to play nicely with each other when you know how I get them to.
That's because they're learning, and this is how we start out in the world, fighting our siblings. I mean, dude, I gave my sister bloody nose. I can't even tell you how many times.
The rules with my kids are one splits it, but the other one gets to pick. So it ends up being very even that way.
Yes, good.
Yeah. So I'm using their greed against them to have them be more equitable.
Whatever works.
I'm not sure if I'm teaching the right lesson here or not. I'm figuring this out as I go along. But I'll tell you that as far as, like in my industry, I'm always working with different companies and having conversations, because so what we do is we're looking at things like credit card processing and telecom, internet, fuel, waste, whatever, shipping, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a wide array of people that I can work with. And what I have found myself is that working with organizations that generally that are nonprofits, they tend to have less value in that and more value in the mission. And so together we work much better.
Better.
And so now I've decided, like, okay, I'm going to really focus on that industry as much as possible and find those folks, because it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, the money is important insofar as I've got, 5 people to feed and, in a mortgage.
I mean, your family needs is number one, obviously. We have to take care of our families.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you have a caring soul, that the rest of it is about making a difference. Like,
yeah.
I don't need a mansion. I don't need fancy car. I don't need name branded shoes. I'm just not that person. A roof over my head and my family stable, and the rest of what we're making is literally going all back into building manufacturing that we need here in our nation, and housing and senior housing. Like, I have a background in one of the companies that I did consulting for after we ran up against the mortgage crisis. So to back up to way back then, I owned a funding company. I had 25 loan officers, an underwriting department, a processing department, and we ran up against the mortgage crisis and had to shut our company down. It's very painful. And we had many years of insane success, to say the least. And then I pivoted to start doing consulting, which is how I got into doing economic development in the first place, was after the mortgage crisis, because we have to pivot and we have to change and we fall and we pick ourselves back up. Like you pull up your big girl panties and move forward, right? So we're constantly having to change and move and shift. That's just part of life. That's part of what COVID did too, but that's life. We're on this journey that's not straight.
Yeah.
Very wiggly.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
I ran an assisted living facility for one of my customers for 2 years, turned it around from 17 beds to 79 beds. And because of that experience, obviously I have a heart and soul for our seniors. Like I love them. They're my favorite humans. And I wish we would listen to them more. So because of that experience and our need in our country for senior care, proper senior care, we're getting into that business too. And that's again, because we have teams of people that all have different experience, that all can step in and help in different ways. Again, it's thank heavens not all me, because I can't do all of this by myself, obviously. Yeah. And we're again constantly building and growing because we're finding people that are like-minded, that have a talent that we're missing or that add to the talents that we have collectively, right? So yeah, that's another project we're doing. I think I might be just a little crazy, but I feel like I have this team of people, and if there's a need, why not fix it? Why not help?
No, I'm with you. I think this is what's, to me, it's amazing to be able to juggle all these different initiatives and projects and things all at the same time. So, good on you for that. I think if I was not married to somebody who would like pull me in, I might do that as well. And then I end up like not doing anything great. Right. I end up being average all across the board.
And I don't want that to happen either, which again is why we don't take on things that we don't have a team that can take on and be great at it.
Right.
So I can oversee, I can give advice, I can give you all the documents you could ever dream of because I've been in business for, decades old. So it's fine. But all that's what I do is try to just help just put the right teams together so that we can do something great.
Right. So you started a factory from scratch is what you're telling me last year. I don't know that I'm not sure how many people realize like how intense that is. This isn't like building a home, right?
No.
Like you are.
I've done that too several times, but now it's not. That's way easier. This is insanity.
This is not a static environment. It's almost like an organism, right? If I've looked at like a cell, like the factory of a cell, right? Like that's, some people call it that. And yeah, it absolutely is. You got your little forklift drivers and you're moving material from here to there. And there's an input and there's an output and maybe multiple different outputs, tack times, and, OSHA. Oh my gosh, which is like impossible to be in.
Oh, we love them. Seriously, totally love them.
Yeah. So, I'm just like trying to wrap my mind around, like, even if I had a great idea today, I would probably from idea to the first anything coming off would be years in my mind. And it sounds like you did this in months, what would have taken me years to do. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around how, like, you find a location, and was it a factory already built, or did you like go from scratch? Wow. Tell me about this.
We're actually on the factory side. We have a friend who's building warehouses in this tiny community where we live because he saw a need for bringing sustainable economic development to our tiny little community, which we need this in our small communities all around the nation. We're also working in Indian country because they desperately need some sustainable economic development. We need this everywhere in America. We need living wage jobs. We need people to feel like they have a purpose in life again, because a lot of people don't feel that way. And look at the small communities all around our nation that have crumbled, that are sometimes, some of those communities are like vacant. All of these homes built around a factory from back in the day that's gone. We can fix that. We can rebuild that. We can rebuild the heart of America, is what I kind of feel like. And we can use hemp, we can use corn, there's a lot of things that we can use even in the farming industry to make things in the manufacturing industry, right? That we need. So we can create jobs from the farming level all the way through to delivering the end product. That's a lot of jobs. And we can do this, but it takes a huge team of people. It takes people in all of those different industries to be part of this team, which they are. So we had a friend that was building the warehouses. That's where our first manufacturing facility started, is here in this warehouse, because he was building it and we just took it over. It's nice. Brand new, so it's beautiful. And I didn't have to like clean out somebody else's gook.
Right. Yeah.
That happens a lot too.
Right.
Not that that's a problem. We've done that too. So, and I think a lot of it helps that because of my experience in banking and doing economic development projects international economic development projects for the last 10 years, all of that makes a difference in kind of understanding what the steps are and how to make it happen faster.
I mean, absolutely. And that's what the other one I was going to ask you, like, just, I can imagine financing this would be a nightmare with, how do you tell a bank, like, this is something new, right? And they're going to invest, like, there's a new marketplace. It doesn't exist. There's nothing to compare it to. I don't know, like, you got to know people, right? Like, that's the only way I think that you could get financing to pursue something like this.
So the money that we got initially to start our projects is all private, and friends and people that the team has known for years. So my business partner has a technology background. So he had a Forex trading company. He designed a track and trace technology that's the best in the world. Every industry should be using it. So you can track if you place an order for something, you could track it all the way from the raw products all the way through the manufacturing process. It's actually really cool. It also does due diligence electronically. So you don't have to like get a due diligence package from a buyer. It goes right through the system and does the due diligence all electronically through AI. It's really amazing. He's brilliant. I turn the computer on, and if it doesn't work, I go, John. and then when he doesn't want to do a document, he goes, I don't know how to use a computer. Seriously. Him and his team also designed a track and trace app for the COVID virus at the beginning of the pandemic, which we presented to the president, and it failed, but whatever. But again, diversified talents, like that makes a difference in this process, that he has those talents, so that's just kind of an example of the diversification. How do you find talents?
The buyers for the stuff? Are you selling it back to the same people who you're buying the waste from, or how does that work?
Well, our PPE, obviously we're selling to hospitals and medical supply companies.
You're turning this waste into a new product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're taking a factory's waste and now you're making gloves.
So basically we're going to take all waste into one end of the plant, and then out the other end will come the commodities that we need in our manufacturing processes, including NBR for our gloves.
Okay.
So our nitrile glove manufacturing will be using waste in the process. Not all of it. We still have to buy some NBR, but a large portion of it will come from waste. And our gloves will also be biodegradable, and they'll be the only biodegradable gloves, nitrile gloves in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really exciting. And that's a product that people have to come to me to buy too. So, and I want them to buy it, and we're not greedy. Again, we want to help the world become more sustainable. I found though that talking to other companies is like running up against a brick wall. You know, we talked to several glove manufacturing facilities all over the world about using this product to make their nitrile gloves biodegradable, and they're like, "But we're already selling gloves. Why do we need to change?"
Right.
Well, because it's good for the environment. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
You're
so
gonna run against the
I feel like
bureaucracy every time.
to do something the right way, we have to show people how it can be done,
Right.
and then other people follow suit after you show them.
Right.
So,
And that's, I mean, I feel like this is what Tesla is doing, right? And now people are following suit,
right.
right?
Yeah.
But
In a big way.
yeah, they're a little behind on that.
Copycatters.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a saying the other day, something about your biggest critic will be the first one that copies what you're doing, basically.
Right.
So that's, I mean, I'm hoping that happens. We want this to spread all over the world. I'm not trying to take over the world. I just
Horse farmers criticized Henry Ford, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
said that it
Yes,
would
they
never
did.
work. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely, they did. You know, and
He's crazy. He was crazy.
wild, right? I love,
Maybe I'm kind of like him.
one of my favorite sayings of his is that if I gave my customers what they asked for, they would have had a faster horse. You know?
Yeah. Can we put another gear on that horse, please?
Yeah, and this is something that we used to talk about. I used to work at John Deere, and we talked about that there all the
Ah,
time. Is
love John
the
Deere.
customer data is only so good, because you're not asking them to be innovative for you. It's to understand what are their problems and what are their challenges and what are they going through. And I actually spent like a week working on a farm as a farmhand, like, and it was in Iowa in the like dead of like February, dead of winter. You know,
Fun. I
not
grew up on a farm, so I understand.
not fun at all.
No, no, it's not fun at all. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I literally grew up on a farm, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, mucking out stalls, feeding all the cows.
Yep.
We raised everything that we ate. We raised
Wow.
whatever it was. So I raised really cool animals that I then ate. They had a really, really good life while they lived with us.
Yeah. It's, oh man, you know, I remember one morning we were there was a cow that was laying out in the pasture and didn't come to eat. And you just made a face, right? And I asked,
That's not normal.
yeah, I was like, is that normal that it, it's just laying out there? She's just laying out there. And he's like, nope. And the snow was so deep we couldn't drive. We had to walk out there.
Wow.
Okay, so we walk out there, and when we get close, the cow stands up, and what's it called when they prolapse? She had a prolapsed colon, right? And it was like, oh crap, And so we walk back, and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to get all these and try and get her separated from all the rest, so we can get her to the vet. And it's 200 head of cattle, and you're trying to separate just one, right? So
fine.
Yeah, so you're closing opening gates and all this. At one point, I was inside the barn. We were like at the end, right? We've got her down to like 2 or 3, and he managed to get her separated, and he clapped, and all the cows turned around and ran. And I was shutting the gate, and I turned around, and here there was like 30 cows of that group running at me. I never climbed the gate so damn fast. I don't even know how I got up it. The gate is like 8 feet tall, and it was like straight up over it onto the other side, and they smashed into it. Oh, it's like the gate is slamming, and he gets her in, and I get out of the barn, I walk back around. I was like, dude, I almost just died. And he's like, oh, I thought you were on the other side of the gate. I was like, I got there quick. Like it wasn't quick. It's like, no wonder farmers are always dying. Like, this is how you guys get killed. Because if your dad had been here, he wouldn't be able to climb that fence the way I just did.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
We all can do amazing things when we're looking at death in our face.
Right. I don't know how I did. Honestly, like 8 feet in less than a second, just straight, like running down the street, like just straight up over the top and down to the other.
Funny.
Absolutely wow. So, I all of this stemming from um, starting this thing and changing the marketplace. So to think about like somebody else that has a great idea and they're, one of the things I talk about in business is that your business growth isn't really steady, right? Like you'll reach a certain point, and then let's say it's your first hire, and that first time you hire somebody, there's a leap that you have to make,
Yeah.
right? Because it's either an income drop or whatever, but that's a leap,
Mhm.
and then the next one is when you have to hire the support staff, that you can't have fractional CFOs anymore. You got to have like somebody, and that's another leap. And so uh, somebody who's like creating a product, some sort of maybe even a consumer product, and it's something that they're making at home, and they're swamped right now, and they need to upgrade their operation
Mhm.
and move into some sort of factory setting. And I'm thinking, because you just did this, like, uh, what would you recommend for somebody who's thinking about, I need more time, I need to work for, on the business instead of in the business. How do I go from making something in my house to I've got enough orders now, I can upgrade this thing, and if I can upgrade it, I can expand and all of that. How do they go through that?
Well, I think there's a couple different ways if we're talking about specific products, right? So when we first started with our hypochlorous acid, we were buying it from a co-packer. So we had somebody that was making our product and packing it and, bottling it and doing all that for us. So that was our first step.
Mm.
Then we decided, why are we doing this? We can make this ourselves. That was crazy because it's not easy to make. It's very, very painstakingly hard to make, actually. The product itself is not hard to make. It's the making it stable that's hard to do. We did perfect the stabilization. We're super, super proud of that. And then we switched to powder. So it's like, I just went through all of that 9 months of research and development it took us to stabilize the product. And now I don't need to do that anymore.
What versus
So
what your
again,
need
you pivot.
was?
What?
Your need versus what you asked for, right? You asked for a stable product, but the need was to be able to ship this in an easy fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
So instead of shipping, like, here, I'll show you, because I have a box that was ready to ship. This is a gallon of our liquid, right? This will cost me $50 to ship to Washington, D.C. I just did this. This packet right here makes a gallon of product. This. I can ship this in an envelope.
Yeah.
I mean, why would I make it in liquid anymore? And I still have farmers, because it's used in the farming industry too. I have farmers locally that want the liquid because they just don't even want to deal with mixing it, whatever. And they live close, so they just come and pick it up. That's different.
Yeah.
And so I will obviously still be making some liquid, but ultimately we're really converting everything over to the powder. It's better, I mean, for the environment. The other thing is when you buy a gallon, you buy just the container once, and then you just buy packets to refill it.
Right.
And you only need one container. That being
Now what
said,
you're
I
gonna do is you sell the gallon with like 3 or 4 refill packets.
That's what we do.
Okay.
Mhm. Got it. Nail on the head. I mean, seriously, you hit it right there.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's the Fortune 100 marketing mind in that one.
I like it.
So yeah, no, of course you do. You came up with it before I did.
Well, I didn't really come up with it, but I mean, it's a kind of a no-brainer. But we're still going another step towards responsibility, and our bottles are going to be made out of hemp plastic instead of petroleum-based plastic.
Sure.
So, and then the label is printed in the bottle with a vegetable-based ink that's also biodegradable. So, we really want to take these extra steps just kind of to show people that things can be done the right way. And the reason why we can do that, obviously, is because we're not having to pay to ship liquid anymore. So we can charge a little bit more for our containers.
So if You
right?
absolutely can. Yeah.
Mm.
And people will pay that too.
And it's responsible. I think it's good to show people that you can actually do this.
So what do I need if I want to start a factory? What are some of the absolute, like, you can't skip on this, that what does my team have to look like, and the people that I'm looking for? Because that's the other thing, is they probably, they don't even know who they need to look for.
Well, if they, yeah, that's number one. You got to have a team of people that have talents. You need to have somebody that has a banking experience. You need somebody that has some kind of structuring of a company, doing some kind of economic development, something. You need, obviously, you need people that are in the tech industry, because we use technologies in manufacturing all products now. You need to know somebody that's making the machines that you need. Like, for heaven's sakes, the nitro glove machines took us months to find, and they're still going to take months to get delivered. It's a lot. So like, there's a lot of steps, and the thing is that what we're blessed with is, because of our international touch and our I don't know what you want to call that. We have people that have done all of these little pieces in parts of planning economic development, maybe for other companies, or they've done it for themselves previously, or they've worked at a factory and they understand these things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I didn't understand. I can get you money all day long.
That's critical, though.
Well,
That's
yeah, kind of.
that's kind of a big deal.
This is all free. Doesn't cost anything. So yes, the money part, but that's all I'm really good at. I will full on admit, I am not the talent behind all of this. I bring money and, experience with structuring economic development and structuring, international, very large international commodity transactions. Those things I bring to the table, but every other part of what we're doing is somebody else that's in our team.
I think the other piece about the money, like, just kind of hearing what you're saying, is that having somebody like that on the team would make me a lot more comfortable with going bigger. Because I talked about those steps, right?
Mhm.
You can make a big leap. You can go from, I'm building it myself, to, those folks on Shark Tank, right? They're building,
Yeah.
they're building it in the garage, and they go from the garage to a factory.
Yep.
They've just skipped 7 or 8 steps because
But you need money to do
right,
that.
because they found that money. So
That's why we were able to do it, to go from co-packing to manufacturing it ourselves, because we had an investor. Like, and we, invest all of the money that we make in PPE goes back into our company, so that we can do those jumps, and that we can make those builds, and we can have our own money into the projects instead of having to borrow money from the outside. We're putting our own money back in. And I have partners in my company who, again, are all like-minded. We all, just want a roof over our head and food on our table and our kids to be stable. And the rest of the money that we make literally all goes back into the company. So that's the other part, is you need to have like-minded partners who get that it's going to be a struggle in the beginning. Like, we're not eating lobster every night, that's for sure. We could, but why? But we're not, because we have a bigger mission.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really think that's great advice, and I think that looking for somebody that is willing to invest, giving up a little bit of that company, you
got to be willing to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get free money.
Nope.
Nothing's free. No.
Nope.
And I like that we talk about this again. Shark Tank, we use this as an example. It's actually a really good learning tool. Let's be honest, I've learned stuff from that show. And part of what you have to think about is, do you want 100% of nothing, or do you want 20% of something? Like, I don't want to give up like majority share personally, because I feel like that then gives them an opportunity to change my responsibility, like the part about being responsible.
Right.
And I really don't want that to happen ever again. I've seen it several times when I've been consulting for other companies. I just don't, we have to stick to that. And otherwise I need to write some kind of ironclad agreement that they're not allowed to change the company in that way.
Right.
But there's always a way around those things. That's what lawyers are for.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is another thing you need on your team is an attorney.
An attorney.
I mean, like I wouldn't even start any of this without an attorney.
Mm.
You have, and I have a very good friend who I've worked with for 10 years in the commodity space, who is an international attorney, and he's part of our core team.
I just want to encourage those people that are thinking about it, right? Like they've found a client base and their business is growing and they've kind of proven out the concept.
Do it. Go.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Go.
like go for it.
Go.
Find
Yeah.
that team, start building those people together. And,
Mhm.
if you find an investor, usually what they'll tell you is like, go find these 5 people,
Yep.
bring me a plan, and
Mhm.
then let's talk again.
Yep.
Right. So
That's
they'll
what I
guide
do.
you.
When people submit loan requests to me, if they're not fully ready, I tell them exactly what they need to do to get ready, because I want this. I want other companies like our company to build and grow. I'd like to help those companies build and grow. I want to be, I'll do whatever it takes, really. I think that small owned, family owned businesses are gone by the wayside. And again, I think that was the core of our nation, was having those companies. And now everything's gone to these big giant monsters. No offense to the monsters. Okay, maybe some offense to the monsters. Again, I like to disrupt things. But ultimately, we need more family-owned businesses. We need more caring. We need more of all of this going on.
Yeah.
And I encourage other people to take this leap because it's worth it. It is. It's fun. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, I have sleepless nights on a regular basis, but ultimately, we have so much fun, and it's just an awesome experience.
So if you got the grit, you could build it.
Yes, you can. Nice. I like that. That's a good slip in there.
Yeah, well, I think it's the point, and honestly, like that's the reality is the people that we're having conversations with and the people that listen to this are all kind of in the same mentality of, I want to do something and make a difference, and I'm willing to, skydive, because that's basically what you're doing. It's entrepreneurship. You're not getting back in the plane once you jump out, so you need to figure it out.
I might still be hanging on the edge, I I'm still here. By the way, skydiving is amazing.
It is.
Everyone should do that too.
I haven't done the free fall. I've only done the static line jumps. So.
Oh, you need to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe when my kids are older, my wife will let me.
Don't die now.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Yeah. Well, we've got enough money that, like, if I'm not there anymore, we're good. We're taken care of. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be fine. There's a backup parachute. No big deal. Yeah. We can put a great big giant trampoline where you're going to land.
Yeah, there we go. There's a guy that did that. He jumped without a parachute, and he landed in a net.
What?
Yeah, there's a video of it there online. Dude jumps without a parachute.
That would not doing that.
No, absolutely.
No.
Bonkers.
Very bonkers.
The size of the net, like, it's wild. But yeah. So, Karie, is there any like parting words of wisdom, or how about this? How about you tell us where we can find your stuff, how people can buy from you, or
help? I have a website, which is www.futurewellgroup.com. You can always email me, which is Karie@futurewellgroup.com, and I can send information. People have questions. We have an info email that's part of our website. They can send it there, and then someone on our team will answer. So we have a sales team, and we have, the operations team and the management team. So we're all work together and all try to get back to people as fast as we can. We've all been studying the things that we're doing for months, because I believe if we're going to do something, we need to do it the right way. And that part of that is learning about the product that you're selling. Like, you need to know it. You need to know it inside and out. I can tell you every single thing that you want to ever know about nitrile gloves because I've been working with nitrile gloves for 2 years now, and I've dealt with all of the manufacturers overseas. I've gone through all of the fraud in the beginning of the pandemic. That's something I know really well now. I know everything that you could ask about hypochlorous acid now because I've been studying that. If we're going to sell it, if we're going to manufacture it, for heaven's sakes, I kind of need to know what it does, right? And our whole sales team does this. We have meetings every week. We talk about different things that the product does, and each one of us takes another piece and studies it, and then we share in our sales meetings what we've learned in that week. It's really fun. I love doing this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And
no, thank you. It's been fun.
yeah, and
Took us a while to get connected, but
no, it's all good. And make sure you check out futurewellgroup.com. Follow Karie on LinkedIn, which is a lot of fun, and you're going to learn a lot there too. And if you're not on that platform, stop wasting your time on all the other stuff. Get on LinkedIn because there's certainly a wealth of wealth there.
yeah, it's good business and information. I've learned a lot from LinkedIn, actually. I have some gripes with them, but
yeah,
I think that a lot of us business owners are getting, like, we want to share. So you can learn a lot from there.
Absolutely. It's a great place, and I wouldn't have met you otherwise. So
right, exactly. Right? Together better.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.